Hey guys, and welcome to a new video. Today, I want to talk about my plans for 380 Sentinel League. Yeah, just some general impressions, thoughts, and feelings about this entire thing, as well as like why am I not like uploading every single day a video like I'm used to doing in this like from the announcement until the league start. And yeah, the main reason for that is there is not really too much to talk about. Like usually there would be a separate video about like the patch notes, for example. And as of the current state here, in the current patch notes, there is like not like the typical stuff that is like in there as of every league, but there is no balance changes, like no skill buffs and nerfs and like anything like that, right? We just have the typical thing like, yo, what about the new challenge league? The new Sentinel related stuff. Then we have like, okay, some Bloodlines and Nemesis removal. So these kind of mods will get added to some of the Arch Nemesis monsters. The talent tree changes that we have seen like in based on the Atlas passive trees, the new keystones that we got announced or at least like showcased in this announcement video. And yeah, and then we have some explanation about the Uber endgame bosses, like the Uber Maven or Uber Elder, whatever, like the stronger versions at the end game, the new end game versions of bosses. Then some map changes, like the rotational stuff. Some little item changes, and that's pretty much all there is to say about the patch notes. So there is like not like this book of patch notes that we had I think in the past 2 leagues. The patch notes were like a never-ending story, and this time around it's like it feels like there is no patch notes, right? Because this is the part where I am personally most interested in, is like what is going to change. What about the new skill gems? What about the balance changes? So for example, if we just take a look at a normal league, right? Just start this video again. So if we take a look at the normal league, we have like you see like builds evolving, right? Like very successful league starters that we had last league, for example, like this explosive era EA Ballista, for example, or Detonate Dead, or any like all these like meta builds, right? And then after like 2 or 3 weeks, you have like a development of like new builds with like new items incorporated in those maybe new skill gems. And at some point, like after 1 month of the league, we have like this meta breaking, like insanely strong builds. For example, I think the Omniscience Tornado Shot was like one of the most powerful and successful builds from the past league. So usually these are the kind of things that gonna get nerfed in the end, whether it's like too strong abilities or items are too strong. Like I could definitely have seen, or at least I talked to a lot of people beforehand, and everybody agreed on the fact that Omniscience is gonna get nerfed, right? Then Chris Wilson comes up with like, yo, boys, nothing is gonna get changed, okay? There is not gonna be a change in like Omniscience or the other good amulet, the star or something. There is just no changes at all, right? So that's what I see a bit of a problem, is we're gonna have the exact same matter as last league, because the builds that are proven to be worth it are going to be good and strong in the upcoming league as well. So obviously, is a bad thing in my opinion, right? But it's not as bad as you may think, just because the sheer fact that GGG has the numbers, right? They know exactly how many people did play the league and how many people quit it early on, and this is me included. And that was not because I did not enjoy the league or anything like that. I think like all the changes that they have made in the last patch with the Atlas expansion, the rework, the new Atlas passive skill tree and stuff like that, that's something we're gonna have for the next entire year, basically, right? And one of my core decisions last league was as well, like, I'm going to play as much as I can until one of the new games comes out. And I think this is something that a lot of like game creators have to work on. They just have to understand the fact that people are playing more games than Path of Exile, right? I mean, I love this game. I'm playing this game since like 4 or 5 years. I think it's like I think I started in 3.0. So this is like my 18th league. And obviously the leagues earlier in the season when I started was like more interesting than now after like 4 or 5 years playing this game. But this doesn't mean that the game is getting gonna get worse or anything. I think the game is gonna get better and better and better every single update. But there is other games that I play as well, namely World of Warcraft. And a lot of people might actually, or at least saw that I play a lot of World of Warcraft. I'm a Mythic Raider and like pushing Arena and stuff like that. Doesn't really matter. But I do play other games as well. And especially this time around, we had a lot of other games that got released in the start, like Lost Ark, definitely a really big name. Then, for example, people that play World of Warcraft, the big patch 9.2 came out with a new raid and stuff like that, the new Arena season, Mythic Plus season, and so on. Then at some point there was Elden Ring. I think like there's like so many good games got released or bigger content updates in the last League 3.17 that a lot of people just did not play it. Just because they said, okay, what is actually new? What is going to maybe stay or get away? And this is Arch Nemesis, the actual league, right? And Arch Nemesis was like a very tiny league, a personal league, so nothing too fancy, obviously, because it was just like this big expansion of the Atlas and then this little league. And people said, like, you know what? I can then go to 3.18 in the next league and experience this all new, and I just not gonna experience the Arch Nemesis, which is like only a minor league anyways, right? And I think that's why the league is still gonna be very good and very successful, I guess, because now people, as far as I know, I don't think that there's any major game releases in May or in June or something where people would get dragged away to actually experience the end game, right? And that's why I say, like, I think it's gonna be a good league just because a lot of people, and I'm talking probably about 80% of the player base, did play less than they usually would in the terms of the league. And I think this is also like one of the decisions why there hasn't been any major balance changes. And I think it's gonna suck for people that really played like 2 or even 3 months of the league and then now get thrown back into the basically exact same meta, and at some point they're like getting out of build ideas and stuff like that. I just think it's sad that again, this is like the second league in a row where we do not have any new skill gems, and this is something I don't like, because, you know, people in PoE play the game different, or at least like you can play whatever you feel like, okay? Some people just like to play hardcore, soul self-on, they're into racing, they're into like trying to make the most expensive build, trying to make the cheapest build, you know? For me personally, my joy in the game is to just check out all the new skill gems, and to see, or at least like in combination with the new items, what fancy builds can we bring or come up with, maybe, or at least most of the builds gonna suck anyways, right? But sometimes there are builds that are just like, that is becoming a meta build of the league, right? And this is sitting countless of hours into Path of Building and trying to bring something new and fancy. This is the stuff that I enjoy the most, and this is the second league in a row where we don't have any new skill gems, which kind of sucks in my opinion, because yeah, I just love like new stuff, like trying out new stuff. Anyways, there is another big change that I want to apply to my league in 3.18 is I'm not gonna play any more mage belt builds. This is something I was talking to a friend of mine, and we came to the conclusion that mage belt is just bad for the game, right? In that case, that it's not bad for the game, it's just like bad for me, or bad for us basically, right? Because Mage Blood is such a strong belt that it just I would just say, in build developing, you always have like your skills, right? You're like, okay, I need damage, I need clear speed, I need tankiness, I need movement speed. There's like many little things that make a build good, you know, starting from the real basics, which is like grass capped, for example, into like many other things like armor value, so you don't get one-shotted by just auto attacks and stuff like that, you know, physical damage mitigation and so on. And on the way of like making a good build, you just try to check mark all of these things. Okay, my character is like super squishy, how can I fix that? Do we add armor? Do we add evasion? Do we add this? Do we go CI? Do we just max out Chaos Rise, go Divine Flesh? You know, you just add layers of defense, layers of offense, and at some point your character turns out to be like really good in all scenarios, and this is what I'm working on, right? And I feel like Mage Blood has this like bitter taste of making everything so easy, right? As you saw, shit, dude, I need some armor. Instead of like trying to PUB out better versions of my build, trying to add some armor, trying to add evasion or anything like these, you know, I just say like, hey, I have a Mage Blood, I'm just gonna equip a Granite Flask or like any like Evasion Jade Flask or something, and oh boy, I have 60,000 armor right now. I just pop in Determination and it's fixed, you know? I don't have to change anything about my gear, I just gonna fix my flasks, you know? I feel like my character is slow. Let's get like a super juiced Quicksilver Flask with Mage Blood, and all of a sudden every build has like 250% movement speed, you know? Or shit, dude, I need some more resistance. How can I get Chaos Res capped, you know? Yo, get an Amethyst Flask with all res and your problem is fixed. The problem that I want to say is like, you get so much defensive or swappable power based on your character, what you need, that it's like no effort, you know? And I kind of miss like those days where I really sat down in PUB like 10 hours straight and trying to figure out ways of making my character stronger with swapping items, maybe craft new items, maybe go a different skill tree route, maybe swap some of the jewels out. So just to add these layers of defense, just to try to get going and make a good build, instead of like, okay, I'm just gonna swap a flask and that's about it. And this is like the same way when I say that I wanna, like, I always try to get certain items as my goals in the league. Early on in the days when it's like my 3rd league, my 4th league or something, the problem that I had was, or at least the joy that I had, was Headhunter. Headhunter, dude, I seen the videos of Q-Dog and his live streams with auto-bombing and stuff. Inspired Learning's Headhunter, insane. I need to have that, I want to have that. So my goal was every single league, in the first 2 weeks, I want to grind up my Headhunter. Because I love this item, I want to play with it, and just develop builds around it or with it and so on, right? And the more leagues I played, the less impact the Headhunter had for me, because it was not special anymore, okay? It was just like, oh well, do I get a Headhunter this league? I don't know, man. Maybe I get it, maybe I have it, maybe I don't. Like, it doesn't really matter to me anymore, just because I have played so many builds with Headhunter. I know this belt, and I love to play with it, but it's not necessary anymore. But then there came Mageblood, and this was like, if you remember back in when it got released, I think like 2 leagues ago or something, it was the same thing. I was just grinding the shit out to get this Mageblood belt, and I remember it was a rough time. I was grinding like 12 to 15 hours every single day, not investing into my character, just getting more and more exalts, until at one point I got my Mageblood and I got to experience this kind of power. In the first league, it was actually insane, just to see how ridiculously strong this item is and what build combinations are possible with it, right? Now, last league, it was pretty much the same, okay? I'm gonna league start, I'm gonna grind up, I wanna have my Mageblood, and then I wanna start grinding out the league. But instantly, once I got the Mageblood, I felt this kind of regret, because there was nothing worth farming anymore. You know, I had like the strongest item in the game. I could farm all entire game, because sometimes it just makes the end game completely obsolete, because you're just so powerful, and there is no challenge anymore, right? And I just did not have this feeling of like, yo, I want to do grinding projects. I want to run like my, I don't know, a quad tab of burial chambers. I want to do 100 simulacrums. I want to do massive currency grinding projects to make my build stronger and stronger, because my build already did all content, was like just boring, you know? And this is like the reason where I said like, you know what? I don't want to play with the Mageblood anymore. Headhunter questionable, because I think Headhunter is still like not the Mageblood level where you get like insane amounts of stuff. I mean, in the mapping process, yes you do, you know, but for bosses, a mage like a Headhunter is useless, right? Other than Mageblood, which is just like the top tier belt for me when it comes to like how stupid items can get in PoE, right? So this is like my big change of 3.18 going into this league. First of all, I'm gonna play a Chaos dot build, so most likely it's gonna be Essence Drain Contagion for my league starter, but I still working on the PoE, and then probably gonna release the final league start choice video on the start, or at least like on Thursday or maybe Friday. We're gonna see. Alongside with the start of my league start diary, as I do every single league, which I really enjoyed. I think a lot of people like to see what I'm up to as well. How do I make currency? How do I progress the Atlas and so on, right? But I definitely told myself I'm not gonna buy any Mageblood. I'm rather trying to make like mirror tier items in terms of crafting with the new stuff that we have, because this is like infinite currency that you need, so you always are motivated to grind it all out. Good. Anything else to say about the Sentinel League? Not really, because I'm not like a pre-hyper. I'm not sitting here like hours trying to predict how Sentinels are going to work out and stuff. I want to like really enjoy the league and experience the league while I'm actually playing the league. So as I said, like there is not going to be too much coverage of any mechanics or something like that in the upcoming days. As I said, Thursday or on Friday, I'm going to release my League starter video, what I'm up to and what is my goals, and then we're going to start into League and then experience all right away when it's the time, rather than just trying to pre-hype and just trying to figure out how everything works. I think we're just going to do it on the go. Good. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. Next video.